There are some problems in life that seem too small to be responsible for the great troubles we face. A locked cupboard, a pile of old clothes, a shirt you haven't worn in years, still hanging in the shadows. Most would ignore such things, perhaps even laugh at the idea that these could hold any power. But I tell you, there is a spiritual science behind even the simplest details of your home, your habits, and your energy. These little things, when misunderstood, can quietly bind your destiny. The great cosmic laws do not overlook even the smallest expressions of your consciousness. There is a direct link between the physical clutter you keep and the karmic energy you carry. Among these, one of the most misunderstood yet deeply influential forces is the energy associated with old clothes, particularly those stored away and long forgotten in cupboards, trunks, and drawers. These aren't just fabric and thread, they are energetic imprints. Each piece of cloth holding the vibrational residue of the time, emotion, and identity you carried when you wore it. In particular, when these clothes are no longer worn, are damaged, or once belonged to someone who has passed on, they become magnets of stagnation. They hold on to what you are trying to evolve beyond. Now let us understand why this becomes such a serious problem, especially from the view of astrological law and the influence of Saturn, the strictest of all planetary teachers. In Vedic astrology, Saturn is not to be feared, but to be respected. He governs time, discipline, karma, and detachment. When Saturn's energy becomes imbalanced in a person's life, you begin to see signs: delays in success, chronic illnesses, financial blockages, loneliness, loss of reputation, heaviness in the home, and a general feeling of being stuck in the past. And here lies the key. Saturn's influence gets aggravated when we hold on to the dead weight of the past. This includes not just old thoughts and habits, but even physical items that symbolize decay and resistance to movement. The most direct example of this is old clothing, especially clothing that is torn, unused, faded, or belonged to someone who has died. These pieces become like spiritual cobwebs in the corners of your karmic field. And just like physical dust accumulates in a closed cupboard, energetic dust gathers too. A spiritual seeker must understand this deeply. Keeping old clothes may seem harmless. Perhaps you thought you'd wear them again one day, or they hold sentimental value. But the universe does not operate based on sentiment. It operates based on vibration. And anything that holds the vibration of death, decay, or delay acts as a doorway through which Saturn's restrictive energy enters your life. Have you noticed that some people always feel blocked, as if their life is paused? They try, but progress is slow. Relationships don't deepen. Money slips through their fingers. Health doesn't fully recover. In many such cases, their home itself is unknowingly attracting Saturn's influence through the items they keep, especially when these old clothes are kept in dark, untouched spaces, locked cupboards, storage trunks, attics, or beneath beds. Their effect multiplies. Darkness symbolizes ignorance and inertia, and when you combine that with decaying cloth and the memory of the past, the energy becomes thick and heavy like fog. You may not see it with your eyes, but you will feel it in your life, a loss of freshness, of forward motion, of light. In spiritual terms, you become like a tree whose roots are entangled in old soil, unable to grow, unable to stretch toward the sun. The master Paramahansa Yogananda often reminded us that environment is stronger than willpower. What you surround yourself with, you become attuned to. If your physical surroundings carry the energy of abandonment, neglect, or stagnation, it becomes harder and harder to uplift your mind, even with effort. You may meditate and pray, but the results feel weak or short-lived. This is why spiritual purification is not just of the mind, but also of your physical space. It's not superstition, it is science. The subtle body reacts to its environment just as a flower reacts to sunlight or shade. If you live surrounded by old, unused clothes, especially those that belong to the departed, your aura becomes receptive to grief, fear, and karmic heaviness. These clothes act like energetic anchors that keep your spirit tied to the basement of your being, preventing your consciousness from rising. And this is not merely spiritual theory. I have seen with my own eyes how lives have changed sometimes dramatically, when this one simple act was done with awareness. Removing the old clothes, blessing them and letting them go. You may wonder, how could something so simple have such power? But this is the law of subtle influence. The heaviest burdens are often not the visible ones, but the energies hiding in plain sight. A disciple once came to the master and said, "Why do I feel so stuck? I meditate daily, chant God's name, serve others, yet I feel as if nothing moves." The master looked at him gently and asked, "What do you keep in your cupboards?" The disciple was surprised. "Just some old clothes, some of which belonged to my grandfather." The master nodded. "There is your answer. You are wearing the past like a second skin, even when you don't wear it. And so when you allow your home, and especially your cupboards, your drawers, your trunks, to become storage places for what no longer serves your present self, you are unknowingly giving Saturn a place to sit, a throne even. He is not evil, no, but Saturn is strict, karmic, slow and heavy. His energy delays, denies, disciplines. When he finds residence in your home, he begins to test you, not through direct punishment, but by making things stagnant. You will see your progress slowed. You will feel a strange sense of burden. Opportunities will come near, but pass you by. Why? Because energetically, you are telling the universe that you are still living in your past. You may think, what harm could some old shirts or a sari do folded in the back of a cupboard? But let me tell you, every item we keep carries vibration. In India, the science of vibration was always understood, not just in temples but in homes. The old dhotis of your grandfather, unused and untouched for a decade, may still carry his sorrows, his struggles, his unresolved emotions. And these vibrations do not remain inert. When your own aura is weak, when your spiritual defenses are down, these energies can influence your mental state. You may feel sadness with no cause. You may face repeated obstacles. You may attract scarcity. Saturn is the planet of karma. He does not forgive easily, nor does he punish blindly. He merely reflects. So when your environment is cluttered with the residues of old lives, old failures, old deaths, you are inviting Saturn to make you revisit your own karma. He will bring lessons until you clear the space. Now let us speak practically. How do you know what to discard? Look at every piece of clothing that has not touched your skin in the last 1 or 2 years. Ask yourself, does this serve me in any way now? If not, its time has come. If it belonged to someone who is no longer living, be even more vigilant. Clothing worn by the deceased should never remain in your active space. No matter how much you love them or how sentimental the item may be, such garments carry a frequency of finality. They may block new beginnings. Even spiritual seekers make this mistake. They keep the old robes of their departed guru out of love. But true love means releasing. Energy must flow. And unless you are consciously using that garment in a sacred space, allowing it to collect dust on a shelf will only become an anchor. An anchor for energies you do not fully understand. A disciple once asked me, "Master, does this mean we should live with nothing?" "No," I said, "live with purpose. Let every item in your home be aligned with your present vibration. If you are walking the path of light, do not let shadows accumulate in corners. Clean not just your altar, but your closet. Your wardrobe must reflect your clarity, not your confusion, for the outer order supports inner peace. And yes, when you clean that cupboard, when you let go of what no longer serves you, you may feel pain. Memories may come. Your mind may say, "But this is part of my story." True, but the soul is not the story. The soul is the storyteller. It can create new stories, better ones. It must not be weighed down by the costumes of yesterday's roles. As you discard those old clothes, you are sending a message to Saturn himself. I have learned. I release. And Saturn, being the great teacher he is, will move. He will no longer resist. You will feel a subtle lift in your being, more synchronicities, more flow, and yes, fewer unexplained delays. When I myself was preparing for deeper meditations, I would remove all clothing that I had not worn in the previous season. I would donate what could serve others and burn what held pain. Fire purifies, giving frees. But hoarding, especially old garments, traps the prana, the life force. This is not superstition, dear ones, this is subtle science. Some may ask, but Master, what if the clothes are beautiful? What if they remind me of better days? And I say, that is precisely the danger. Saturn does not only dwell in sadness, he dwells in attachment. Whether to pain or pleasure, it matters not. When you cling to past joys, you limit the infinite joy of the present. That old silk kurta you wore at your wedding, the blouse your mother gifted you decades ago, they may carry warmth, yes, but they also freeze you in time. They anchor you to a version of yourself that no longer exists. Spiritual growth is a process of becoming. You are not who you were 5 years ago. You are not who you were yesterday. The river flows forward. If you try to hold it in your palms, it slips through. So let those garments go, not with sorrow, but with gratitude. Bless them for the role they played. Then release them into the current of time. Some of you are sensitive. You feel stuck in your life. You pray, you meditate, yet nothing seems to shift. Have you looked around your home? Have you seen what you still carry from your past? A seeker once told me, "My prayers are not working." I said, "Neither will they, until your home becomes a temple." He was confused. I asked him to go to his attic. There he found his late father's clothes, untouched for 12 years. Some still had stains from his last illness. I said to him, "These clothes are not simply cloth. They are containers of unresolved grief. You must release them if you want to breathe fully." The moment he did, the energy in his home changed. He slept better. His breath deepened. His job offer, long delayed, came the very next week. This is the power of energetic clarity. The outer must support the inner. You cannot sit in deep meditation while ghosts from your past live in your cupboard. You cannot chant while holding on to a sweater that reminds you of heartbreak. Saturn is a silent witness. He waits to see whether you are ready to live in truth. When you are, he opens the gates, but not before. Even science now confirms what the sages knew. Everything holds frequency. Clothing especially absorbs emotion. It rests against your body. It soaks in your sweat, your thoughts, your energy field. That is why our ancients wore specific clothes for specific activities. Cotton for meditation, silk for ritual, plain cloth for sleep. They did not mix these energies. They understood the sacredness of simplicity. Today we pile our wardrobes with unused, forgotten fabric. It is not just a waste of space. It is a spiritual obstruction. You do not need 20 shirts. You need 5 that are clean, fresh, and aligned with who you are becoming. You do not need to hold on to clothes that no longer fit, hoping you will become the person you once were. That body, that moment, that version of you has served its role. Now rise. Step into the new robe of your evolving self. Let the clearing of your closet become a ritual. Light incense. Chant Om. With each item you fold and release, say inwardly, "I thank you. I release you. I make space for the new." And do not be surprised if in the days that follow, Saturn gives you a gift, not of material nature, but of time, clarity, and lifted burdens. This is how the karmic knots begin to dissolve. Saturn is not your enemy. He is your examiner. And when he sees that you have the courage to let go, he no longer needs to test you. And so, when we speak of clearing out the old clothes buried deep within the cupboard, we are not simply engaging in an act of cleaning. We are initiating a spiritual ritual. This is not superstition. This is energy work. This is karmic release. This is an offering to Saturn, the great taskmaster of the cosmos, to say, "I am ready to evolve." You see, every object in your home, especially those that have been long untouched, holds a vibration. The clothes that belong to a loved one who passed away may still carry threads of their energy, wrapped in unspoken emotions. The garments of your youth, once full of dreams, disappointments, aspirations, still echo those unfulfilled desires. Even a wedding dress that now hides behind layers of time may carry unresolved sentiments, lingering heartbreaks, or attachments you never consciously dealt with. Paramahansa Yogananda often reminded us that the physical world is but frozen thought, crystallized energy. and energy must flow. When it stagnates, whether in our minds, our habits, or even our closets, it begins to decay. It begins to pull us backward instead of lifting us upward. Saturn, in Vedic astrology, represents our karma, the delayed consequences of past action. It does not punish, it teaches, and its lessons come through structure, discipline, detachment, and facing the residue of our past actions. When Saturn dominates a person's chart or enters a challenging transit like Sadhisati or Daya, it compels the soul to deal with whatever was ignored, not just externally, like debts or responsibilities, but internally, regrets, guilt, unresolved grief. And what better place does Saturn find to rest than in the dusty corners of our home, in untouched boxes, in untouched emotions? People often say, "But these clothes are just lying there. They don't bother me." But they do. They anchor you silently. They act like spiritual cobwebs. Paramahansa Yogananda taught that matter is merely congealed spirit. If that is so, then every item you refuse to let go of, despite no longer using it, becomes a spiritual roadblock. It occupies not just physical space, but energetic space in your consciousness. Let us say this directly now. Keeping old, unused, and especially dead people's clothes in your cupboard for years can weigh down your aura. It can attract Saturn's stagnant heavy energy. It can cause delays, depression, obstacles in career, and even failures in relationships. Why? Because the vibration of Saturn thrives in stillness, in slowness, in delay. And when we create these small physical zones of delay, like a pile of unused items we never touch, we mirror that energy back to the universe. There's a subtle psychic drag happening in your home when you keep such items. A part of you remains tied to the past. You may not even consciously think of those clothes, but unconsciously your mind knows they're there. That emotional memory becomes a psychic knot. Yogananda said, "The more you live in the past, the less energy you have to move toward the future." This doesn't just apply to memories, it applies to the things you carry, the attachments you refuse to release. So how do we release Saturn's grip? How do we harmonize with this strict but ultimately wise planetary energy? Begin with humility. Say inwardly, "I have learned. I am ready to let go." Then go to your cupboard. One by one, take out the clothes that haven't been worn for years. Touch them gently. Remember what part of your life they belong to. Thank them silently. And then, let them go. Donate what can be given. Burn or respectfully discard what holds heavier energy, especially if they belong to the dead. Do not hold them indefinitely unless they are spiritually significant or ceremonial. And even then, they must be cleansed and consciously stored, not neglected. As you remove these clothes, you are symbolically removing the weight of your past karma. You are telling Saturn, "I am willing to be free. I accept responsibility for my evolution. I welcome clarity and lightness into my path." You can go further. Light incense in your home. Chant Om Sham Shanicharaya Nama, the mantra of Saturn, as you do this cleansing. Let your hands move with intention. Let your mind be still and grateful. Paramahansa Yogananda spoke often about how matter influences mind and how environment influences consciousness. If your surroundings are cluttered, dull, or filled with remnants of who you used to be, your spirit will remain entangled in that identity. The divine self cannot soar while being weighed down by the anchors of the past. After you've completed this ritual, you will feel a strange lightness. The air in your room will shift. Your breath will deepen. Your mind will be calmer. Over the coming days, you might notice strange blessings, unexpected clarity, a new opportunity, a difficult situation finally resolving. This is not coincidence. This is Saturn releasing its grip. This is energy, once frozen, finally moving. And if you feel hesitation in doing this, if a voice within says, "But what if I need these later?" ask yourself honestly, is this faith or fear? Are you trusting the divine flow of abundance, or are you clutching at memories because you fear emptiness? Yogananda would say, trust the infinite. What you let go of in faith, the universe replaces with tenfold better. So start today, not tomorrow. Open the cupboard, not just the one in your home, but the one in your heart. See what you've kept locked up for years. See what no longer serves your growth. Offer it to the fire of transformation. Offer it to the altar of evolution. And once you've done this, sit in silence. Pray. Meditate. Let the stillness wash over you. Let your soul whisper back to you, I am free. Because in the end, the path of spiritual liberation is paved not only with grand acts of devotion, but also with these small, sincere acts of release, with the courage to let go of what is old so that the divine can give you what is new. Saturn bows to those who bow to growth. Your home is your temple. Let every corner of it reflect clarity, peace, and your readiness to evolve. No longer trapped by the weight of old clothes, old pain, or old identities, but reborn in the light of conscious living. This is your moment. Choose to release. Choose to be free.